Hello divas, it's your girl Grace, aka Facequisite here, and welcome to another episode of Dialogues with Grace. So on today's episode, we are going to be looking at a very interesting topic, and we kind of touched on it briefly in our last discussion, which was about how to avoid attracting the wrong type of man. And so today we're going to be honing in on red flags that we can never ignore. Red flags that we can never ignore in a relationship. And today I have 10 red flags for you. 10 red flags that you can never ignore. As soon as you notice these red flags, you need to act upon them. Okay? It's either you exit the relationship or you try and find a resolution with your fiance, boyfriend, whatever at the time before you get into marriage. I'm not going to dwell too much on what we did last week. The video would be placed right here, just above my head. So without further ado, let's get into it. Oh, and just so you know, I am going to be looking down at my phone because like I said to you last week, I always come prepared. I do not want to waste your time. And so I come prepared, I make notes. So I'm going to be referencing my notes each time by looking down at my phone. Okay, divas? So the first thing on my list is lack of communication. Lack of communication in any relationship is a huge red flag, especially when it is a relationship between spouse, man and woman. When I say spouse, I don't mean married, because I would like to think that as the very intellectual, very smart women that my divas are, they would identify these red flags and exit such a relationship before they get too deep in, because your behavior, your character is like smoke. You can't hide it. It would find its way to surface to the top at some point. So as soon as you notice those red flags, you exit. So like I was saying, the first thing on my list is lack of communication. Again, a very big red flag, because you're saying it's good to talk. So in every relationship, it is very important that we are able to communicate with one another, express our feelings towards one another. And if it is only one-sided, this communication, if it's only one-sided, the party that's doing all the communicating tends to get frustrated and get to the point where they start to resent their partner who is who is not forthcoming, should I say, when it comes to communication. Communication is key. How do you express yourselves in a relationship if you cannot communicate? How do you talk to each other? How do you say what you like and what you don't like? Which are, if we want to build a relationship on a strong foundation, it's very, very important to communicate. One of the main reasons for divorce is lack of communication. Because if one person keeps shutting one person down, or you just not letting them talk, it's always them who has the upper hand when you want to express yourself, or maybe you want to share something great that happened to you that day, maybe at work. They shut you down. I'm so busy, let's talk later. It makes you start to resent such a person. They come across as though you're not important to them, and therefore they don't really need to say anything, that there's nothing that you can say that interests them. Huge red flags. Also, if such a person, like if you have a person, for example, that is very withdrawn, they don't communicate, they don't express how they feel, despite you trying, then that's a huge red flag. Because there's a difference between being reserved and completely shutting down, no communication whatsoever. I know people who have left relationships because of this. Even after marriage, it would have been better for them to have identified this issue prior to getting married to the person and then exit prior to marriage. But for whatever reason, they stayed, and then unfortunately they had to exit because they felt that their spouse would not communicate and will constantly just shut down. And they felt that they were alone in the marriage. So in order to avoid that, it's very, very important for you to communicate. Also, for your future decisions, you have to talk about it. So how do you make plans if you're not communicating? Are you co-tenants? I don't understand. Every relationship needs communication. So that's my first thing on the list, lack of communication. The second red flag on my list is controlling behavior. This is another huge red flag. Controlling behavior really and truly is, for me, is quite manipulative. When somebody wants to control your every move. Now, someone who is controlling might start with things like isolating you, for example, from your friends, from your family. Again, I know someone who, in fact, I know more than one person who that has happened to. They isolate you from your friends. That's the first thing. Oh, but you're married now. Why are you hanging around your single friends? And so on and so forth. As if it's your friend's fault that they're still single. As if being married is a ticket to heaven or a ticket that you can just produce in the bank and they just give you money because you're married. Come on. But, you know, us women, because of the kind of people we are, the way God has created us, sometimes in trying to be submissive, you sometimes lose yourself. You have to identify the difference between someone who is just a leader in the home, which is a great virtue that a man can have, as opposed to somebody who is controlling. Controlling behavior should not be tolerated in any relationship whatsoever. You're equal partners in the relationship. That's not to say that the man is not the head, because the man is the head. Whichever way we want to put it, the man is the head. But the woman is the strong support system right beside him. So if you're going to be controlling, then the relationship is not going to work. You have to be somebody who can reach a compromise. And you as a woman has to be somebody who does not tolerate that kind of behavior. If you don't nip it in the bud from the very beginning, this will become an issue for you later on in your marital life. This person who is controlling will control your every move. They will control, like I said, your friends, who you can have as friends. They start to separate you from your friends. They start to separate you from your family so that they can have absolute control of your life. They dictate what you can eat, where you can go, what you can wear. You begin to lose yourself. So you need to identify these red flags early on. Controlling behavior reduces you into someone of insignificance in the eye of the person dishing out the controlling behavior. Where are you coming from? Why are you wearing this? Where do you think you're going wearing that? Why do you look like this? And you're there taking it. Why? You're not married to him. Oh, he's already commanding you around. He's already dictating. Oh, I don't want you being friends with this. I don't want you being friends with that. Oh, you spend too much time with your mother. Your mother cannot do this. She cannot do that. If you're going to be with me, you have to sever yourself from this, that, and the other. Come on, divas. You're smart women. As soon as you notice this red flag in a man, you need to exit the relationship, because I doubt you'll be able to change a man like that. I really do doubt it, because people like that are set in their ways and they're used to having their way, and maybe it's something that they also grew up around, you know, maybe in their household growing up, they experienced their father dishing out such controlling behavior. Now, I'm not saying that some women don't do the same, because let's not deceive ourselves. There's some women who are worse than men. Yes. But I'm talking to you, my sisters, who might be on the receiving end of this from your partner, somebody that you're dating and you're planning to marry. I would ask and urge you to reassess the situation. Is this the kind of person that you want to spend forever with? Is this the person you want to spend eternity with? Someone who you are still dating and they're already telling you what you can and can't do. Think about it, sisters. Think about it. It's not going to work. Make sure you see this red flag, you identify it, nip it in the bud, or keep it moving. On to the next. So the third red flag on my list is disrespect. Disrespect. And we did touch on this a little bit last week. Disrespect of any kind should not be tolerated in any relationship. Not at all. In every relationship, there has to be mutual respect. You respect him, he respects you. He respects your values, you respect his values. You respect his space, he respects yours. He doesn't talk down at you. Because if you're in a relationship, just dating or not even married, this guy is already disrespecting you. We touched on this in our last video, how not to attract the wrong man. please, please, please try and watch that video. You don't have to watch it before this. You can watch it after. But please make sure you watch it. Like I said, I'll link the video above. Make sure you watch it. Disrespect should not be tolerated. If you are dating someone, you're not married to him, he's already disrespecting you, calling you names, talking down at you in front of his friends, in front of your peers, in front of colleagues. You know, you're not married to him yet, and he's already doing this. There's no telling what he'll do once you get married to him, because then he's going to think he has every right. Because I've heard men say, well, I paid her dowry and therefore blah, blah, blah. Oh, please. Did you buy a piece of furniture? Paying dowry is a culture. It doesn't mean you're buying the person. You cannot buy a human being. Your billions is not enough to buy a human being. Yes, I said it. Quote me anywhere. Why would you say, oh, but I paid her dowry and therefore, and so what, Ross? And so what? So you paid dowry. Did your father not pay your mother's dowry? Did he kill her just because? So, ladies, keep your eyes open for these red flags. Disrespect should not be tolerated on any level. And you need to identify it early on. Once he starts to call you names, calling you, look at her, look why you dress like a whore, why you do this, why you that, why do you eat like that, why do you do that? It's how it's said. Because there's nothing wrong in us correcting ourselves in a relationship. We learn from each other, and then after a while, you start to blend into each other. This is after years. Because if you look at couples that have been together for some time, you will notice certain things. It's either, and there's always one that's more domineering, not in a bad way, but you will find that it's almost like they start to morph into each other. So this one picks some traits from this one, and that one picks some traits from that one, and then they come together. It's amazing. But when it comes to disrespecting you, calling you names, telling you what to do, what you can do, just talking down at you, tearing you down with his words, not valuing you, not putting you above all else, making you feel insignificant, embarrassing you in public, shaming you in front of your friends, in front of your family, or still in front of your colleagues. I don't know how you'll come in contact with your colleagues, but we've seen it happen. Identify this red flag, because if he does it before you get married, my sister, it is just the beginning. You will collect. You will collect. Why would you want to spend forever with such a person? Somebody that doesn't respect you. Somebody that doesn't value you. Sis, let's move on. There's no need dwelling on this one. On to the next. So, the next thing on my list, which is number 4 on my list, is jealousy and possessiveness. Jealousy and possessiveness is another extremely terrible red flag. Now, don't get me wrong. An element, a little bit of jealousy here and there is okay to show that they love you and all that, because even our God is a jealous God. Because the other extreme to this is that they don't even care. So why would they be jealous? But I'm talking about excessive jealousy, excessive possessiveness. They don't want to see you with any other. You can't wave at another man. You're in trouble. Who is that guy? Oh, so you started doing this. Oh, so you started doing that. Is that your boyfriend? Every man is your boyfriend. If you as much as look at a man, you are dating him, you're sleeping with him. People who are extremely jealous, if you really look, if you look deeper, they tend to, it escalates from jealousy to abuse. Yes, it could be abuse, and we're going to touch on that later. But people who are excessively jealous, oh my God, they will drain you. They will drain you. And you become scared because you're thinking, if I do this now, if I talk to this person now, this guy is just going to give me stress a lot. Let me not even bother. They're even jealous of your own children. I've seen people in marriage and their husband is jealous of their child, their own child that they gave birth to. But you only spend all your time with that Junior. You don't give me any attention. Are you a baby? Come on. Yes, of course. Balance is key in everything we do. And the same applies to our relationship. As much as you're giving your child attention, you need to also give your husband some attention, and vice versa. He needs to do the same for you. But we all know that that child is going to require a bit more attention, especially when they're younger. So if you have a man that is already showing you signs of jealousy now, trust me, when you have your child, he will not let you spend time with that child. He'll be telling you you're spending too much time with that child. You need to cut down the time you spend with the child and come and spend that time with me, as if he's a baby. forgetting that this child is just a child and that when they grow older, they'll be a bit more independent and they would not need too much of your time. Very important, divas. Jealousy is terrible. We've even heard of people who put gadgets on their spouse's phone to track them down, and they want to monitor who they're talking to, their every movement. How about now? That's a bit much. Unless, of course, you've given them reason to be jealous. Not to be jealous, but reason to be suspicious, rather. But even then, I think all of that is a bit excessive. My point is, identify these red flags early on. Look at it. Is it something that I can deal with? As in, can I help him overcome this? Can I reassure him? What can I do to make him stop? But if you can't, my sister, exit fast. You see, carry your 2 legs and run. Run, oh. Don't say you weren't warned. Run. Because people who are jealous, extremely jealous, that tends to escalate to abuse, especially physical and emotional abuse. And you don't want that. And we're going to touch on that in a minute. Okay, like I said, a little bit of jealousy is okay. If you love someone, you're going to be a tad jealous when you see them maybe admiring somebody else or whatever, but it's in a loving kind of way. It's not that you now go into a rage and say, oh, you're doing this and that, you're checking that girl, you're checking that guy. That's a bit excessive. So if you notice this early on in your relationship, my darling, exit. Okay, to the left, get out, don't hang around. Okay, darlings, on to the next. Number 5 on my list is lack of empathy. Lack of empathy. Imagine ending up with somebody who lacks empathy. Somebody who has because that to me means they have no feelings for you. If you're ill or, and you need you're on your own. They couldn't care less. If you lack empathy, then for me, it means that you don't particularly care about that person. So if you don't care about the person, why are you in a relationship with them? So you, my sisters, if you find yourself in such a relationship, you notice that this guy is not the most caring type. You need to really assess that situation. I know that not everybody is very lovey-dovey. Even me, to be honest. I'm not that romantic. I'm guilty. Yes, I'm saying it now. I'm being honest. Because my husband early on in our relationship was asking, what's wrong with you? Why are you like this? Because I don't like clinginess. I don't like all that. And I made it very clear. I don't want it. Doesn't mean I don't love you. So that's different. However, when you have somebody who just doesn't care, they couldn't care less about you. If you're, like I was saying, like, for example, say you're ill and you need somebody to show care, look after you and all that, and the person just can't be asked. And they're already showing you that now. So what then happens when you get into a relationship, a full-on relationship, you get married to this person, you start to have kids. Are you sure you want to put up with somebody like this? Are you sure you want to spend the rest of your life with somebody who couldn't care less about your feelings, who couldn't care less about what you're going through? Because we all have ups and downs. We have moments in our lives where we need that special person just to be there for us. We just want to feel loved and valued and just know that that person is there for us. And it just helps you feel better, But if you have somebody and they're already showing you that, I don't have time for this showing of care and all that, then maybe you need to reassess that situation and really look into whether this is something that this relationship is the kind of relationship that you want to continue in. Empathy is very, very important in a relationship, and it has to be both ways. It can't be one-sided either. You show empathy, you show care, and he does the same for you. You can't love someone and not have certain feelings of warmth towards them and care, So identify these red flags and exit if need be. If you can work on it, and if the person is willing for you to work together and resolve this issue, then by all means. But if they don't see it as an issue and it is an issue for you, then I don't think it will work. I think you need to find your own person, the person whose rib you came out of. Bone of your bone and flesh of your flesh. All right, my lovelies, on to the next. So number 6 on my list is patterns of dishonesty. So you're dating somebody and their ways are not pure, as my people will say. You just know that there's something off about this person. They're always lying. You just know. When somebody's being dishonest, you will know. And if this is a persistent thing, then you have a problem. Because if someone is consistently dishonest, then you can't trust them. Now, trust is the foundation of every relationship. One of the major foundations of every relationship is trust. But you have this person who is constantly dishonest. They lie. They steal even from you. Yes, we've seen that one too. People who steal from their spouse. So, if you're still in the dating phase, that's what dating is about. As we call in Christendom, we say courtship. I think it's a time for you to get to know each other and find out things about each other and find out whether you're compatible. And don't just say, but I'm 35. I don't have much time. I'll wait. I'll marry this one. I'll manage. I'll change him. I'll pray. I will pray and God will change him. God Almighty. Well, in fact, your pankere. Sorry, deepers. Just don't do it, okay? Don't do it.